look, I think it's hard to digest all this without recognizing that Matt Gaetz was supposed to be in that chair. And like literally anyone is better from their vantage point than Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, you could tell that Gaetz was the person they wanted to attack because they spent so much time asking her, not about her, but about Kash Patel.
Yeah.
Right.
Aren't those comments inappropriate? Shouldn't you disavow them and ask him to recant them?
Senator, I am not familiar with all those comments. I have not discussed those comments with Mr. Patel.
Because that's the real big fish here. And so many questions to her were about somebody who would work under her at DOJ. And his hearing...
Why do that? He's going to have his own hearing.
Well, there's not much to go on with her. Like Sarah said, she's very qualified and, is pretty standard in terms of a nominee, positions aside. With regard to Kash Patel, that isn't the case. And so they're really concerned about how she will handle him and how she will handle Trump. My takeaway from it were the two most glaring performances were Adam Schiff. This was his debut as a senator. He showed how seasoned of a litigator he is. His questioning was very good. It was all lawyerly in the way he asked her questions so that answers couldn't just be rambled away. On the opposite side of that, Tom Tillis was very political. He was very deferential to her. And then after his questioning, I spotted him walking through the Senate basement with Kash Patel. Both of them smiling and laughing. Turns out he was his guest to the Senate GOP lunch.
Wild.
The way that he
what you will do when you're in cycle,
Yeah. And that's what it revealed is that right. He had two options and it's either be the original Tom Tillis or play it safe. And he's playing it safe by leaning into the MAGA stuff to maybe stave off a primary challenger. Might not work, but that was very revealing. And then seeing Schiff's debut was refreshing based on like the way a lot of these senators act in these hearings. Like Mazie Hirono is not good at this. Right. And having another person on that committee who knows how to do this and knows how to drill these people, that was refreshing.
thing that killed me about Tillis was that he was asking questions. I think that the topic turned to January 6th, and he said something like, I find it hard to believe that Trump will look at January 6th and say it was just an intemperate moment.
I find it hard to believe that the President of the United States or you would look at facts that were used to convict the violent people on January the 6th and say it was just an intemperate moment. I don't even expect you to respond to that, but I think it's an absurd and unfair hypothetical here, and you probably haven't heard the last of it.
As if, like, he doesn't
know
that
Trump.
Love. Yeah, Trump has called it a day of love. Like the written record is clear. Adam, one thing that also didn't come up that I'm kind of curious about was they talked a lot about January 6 pardons, but there are pending cases involving January 6 rioters that will ostensibly be dropped, we presume, by the next attorney general. I guess they could have pinned her down on that. Would you bring forth those cases? Or are you going to end them?
Right, and there was a glossing over them in her first substantive answer to Dick Durbin. I mean, it was the first time she dodged the question, did Trump lose the election? And part of her answer there was that there was a peaceful transfer of power. Now, that would be news.
What is the definition of peaceful?
Right. There are, and just as a legal matter, there are more than 600 cases brought for assaulting or resisting law enforcement on January 6th. Those are the cases that are going to be on her docket. And she has just declared that the transfer of power in 2020 was peaceful. And picking up on Joe's point a bit earlier about Schiff's questioning, and you're right, it was very sharp, it was very pointed. There was this one phrasing that he gave. Now, whenever someone tried to pin Pam Bondi down on whether she would prosecute Liz Cheney or would you prosecute Jack Smith, she would say, and one could argue appropriately, I don't have that case before me. There's, I'd look at you don't want to go down a list of people and say, thumbs up, thumbs down before any investigation.
Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
But Schiff pressed her on it and said, sitting here now, do you see any factual predicate to go after Liz Cheney? Do you see any factual predicate for Jack Smith? And her refusal to answer that was a little bit more telling. There was something with, Dick Durbin, Senator Hirono, Senator Schiff, Senator Padilla. They all took turns trying to get her to concede that Trump lost in 2020. And there was no way that the question could have been phrased that it would have gotten a direct answer. So the major takeaway that came for me watching these hearings were, yes, Pam Bondi still denies or refuses to validate the 2020 election, and she's highly, highly likely to be confirmed. I think even Senator Schiff, when you saw the questioning, the first round of questions and the second round of questions, it just became clear as a bell.
Padilla said you are likely to be confirmed. Said Peter Welch said
she's
you did
definitely
going to
get confirmed.
Yeah. What are we talking about here?
She's going to get confirmed because they're going to save their fire for Kash Patel. Like, if they're going to die on a hill, it's the Kash Patel hill, which is, again, why so many questions to her were about him, because he's the one that they're really scared of.